What's up, you guys? It is Battle from 105.9 The Rock, Nashville's classic rock, and iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. And we are super excited coming up here Friday night SmackDown live from the Bridgestone Arena, October 4th. And on the show today, I really wanted to do this, but I was like, he's done this so many times today. I was going to say, we got Triple H, but I'm not doing it. We got Tommaso Ciampa on the show with us. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic, and you can go ahead with your Triple H all you want. I do get it all the time. Even prior to R-Truth, I got it all the time. So, yeah, it's been 10 years worth now.
I got to ask, because we've had Truth on before, you're doing those segments with him on live TV. How hard is it to not just start busting out laughing when he started doing those things?
So the cool part with Truth is that he ad-libs almost everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not the case for everybody. Obviously you try to roughly stay to a script or whatnot, but even when you're kind of brainstorming or just going back and forth and we could do this or that, I feel like he knows what he's gonna do or say, but he's like, I'm gonna hold this one. I don't want to. He doesn't want to tell you until the camera's on and the lights on. So he does. That's just that he tries to crack guys. I'm pretty decent at putting myself in a whole different place when the camera's on, and I think I'm very hard to crack. And I don't believe he got me ever. If he did, somebody would have to tell me or show me. But yeah, he's so funny, and he's such a good ad libber, and that's the hardest part is when someone can just do it off the cuff like he can. That's years and years of it though. He's been at it for 20 something years now. He's so darn good. He's so entertaining, so funny, such a cool dude too backstage. Just one of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about the best, and I would think on here this show, one of the best tag teams in WWE, of course, it's got to be DIY when you think about tag teams. One of the most beloved tag teams in NXT history. How do you feel about the DIY from NXT compared to this main roster DIY?
I feel like a year ago and now is different answers, right? I think we're finally in our groove. I think it took us a bit though, and we expected it, to be honest, because what the DIY was in NXT was very organic, very natural, much created by the crowd and the NXT audience, and it was just so easy to overlap truth and creative. Two kids, independent wrestlers, weren't signed to a contract, get these opportunities. Crowd brings us back, brings us back, brings us back. It becomes its own thing. Main roster, now you're looking like, okay, well, fast forward 8 years, and they're not just women kids anymore. So we couldn't go back to the same, okay, well, this worked the first time, it's going to work the second time. In reality, we had fought each other for 3-4 years. We went to war together. I kind of developed into this Blackheart persona. He became Johnny Wrestling. So it took us a year to kind of figure out, okay, what is the dynamic now of this version of Johnny, this version of Ciampa, and how do they blend and how does that work? And I honestly think we just hit our stride in the last few months, kind of on the outskirts after WrestleMania, end of our time on Raw, coming into SmackDown. But now I'm really liking what we're doing. We had a promo that aired on digital this last week, and it was the first time I watched something back and went, okay, yeah, we're really in our pocket again of I can be me, you can be you. And this is the new version of what we're going to present as DIY. And I'm excited for what that potentially is going to lead to. But yeah, we're in that groove now. In ring, we've been in it, but character wise, we're finally in it.
Right. And you mentioned character, and the evolution of you has been tremendous. You go from being a lawyer to a wrestler to the Blackheart to where you are now has been absolutely incredible to watch. How much of your real life persona influences who you are on WWE television?
I'd say quite a bit. I don't know, it's hard to overlap everything. I don't know if the character has the same value. I guess if I knew deep into that, but to some extent in wrestling, it's like you just are who you are, and like
Mhm.
the way you look, your voice, the way your style in the ring, all that stuff plays into the character. Like you can't act a certain way with a microphone and then a different way when you're wrestling, and then the two don't coincide. So it's when you're doing it, I've been doing it. I'm coming up on my 20th year. Like it all just evolves into one thing where you're like, yeah, like this is the closest version I believe you'll get of me as a human being, as a wrestling persona. The difference always is when I turn heel, because I prefer being a heel, and I find a lot of pleasure in, like, I think in everything, right? Like in your real life, you get those friends of yours. They might have certain ticks, and you realize they're ticks, and you're like, "That's a little annoying," or "That's a little
Mhm.
this or that." I love picking up on those and then putting them in my back pocket and going, "Okay, if I ever get to turn heel again, I'm going to do this, this, and that." But even that's part of me as a person. It's I'm doing the things I don't like, and
Yeah.
I'm just you know putting that forth. So it's such an overlapping thing. You kind of lose where Tommaso Whitney ends and Tommaso Ciampa begins. I feel like it's very much intertwined.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And it's fun to see, like you said, how you intertwine things here and there. And I will tell you that I am a heel fan of Tommaso. I and my 7-year-old is a big fan of the baby face Tommaso. So
Which makes
very
perfect sense.
very house divided in our house when
Yes.
it comes to wrestling. What's been fun to watch, and you've had a front row seat to seeing the growth of NXT and, of course, the transition to WWE's main roster. What do you think is the biggest differences between those two worlds? Because you see some people, they go to NXT and then they make the jump to the main roster and it doesn't seem to click, so they go back to NXT.
Yeah, I'm guessing, and this is just a guess, I think we'll see a little bit less of that in the future. And just because there's a lot more communication between the two brands now, and they're a lot more in sync. For instance, if you develop a persona in NXT and it's working, we'll take Trick Williams, for example. I don't think when Trick Williams comes up to Raw or SmackDown, he's going to be repackaged.
Mhm.
They're going to have to educate the crowd on who he is, but he's going to give you the same Trick Williams that you've been getting. And I think that was the hardest part for a long time. You did a thing in NXT, the thing worked in NXT, then you go to the main roster and it's like, well, that thing didn't exist, not in this universe. So we're going to repackage you and put you in this position. And that's very hard on a performer. Like even speaking first person, I mean, when I came up and I was paired up with the Miz, I love the Miz. I love Mike as a person. I love his character. I think he's fantastic as a wrestler, a performer. But in no way, shape, or form does Miz and Tommaso Ciampa make any sense as a unit. So that was like, all right, how do I make this work? And how do I do this and stay true to myself? And like that's where it becomes very hard to be the real you. I think we're going to see less of that now. I think now there's a lot more. Obviously, Sean's running creative and Hunter's running creative. Obviously, very good friends. So I think that's going to be a way smoother transition for people going forward, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, WWE is just on fire right now. You've got WWE Raw moving to Netflix. You've got NXT on CW. You've got SmackDown moving to USA. You've now just got Saturday Night Show on.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I mean, insane. It's like eventually it's going to be WWE is just taking over every single night on some channel.
Yeah.
But walk us through when you guys got the note that, hey, we're doing this on Saturday nights for Saturday night main event.
Yeah, honestly, you don't hear a ton internally. Like you hear rumblings, but you hear the same rumblings that you hear or anyone else hears who follows the internet.
Mhm.
I didn't know it was official until I saw a flyer on Twitter like a day or two ago, whatever it was, or at least I didn't know when it was, what the date was. Like I just knew the rumor was there, uh, and then I think I heard Jesse Ventura was coming back for it, which is so like one of the things I love about what Hunter's been doing and what he even did at NXT he's a true fan of the business, right?
Mhm.
So he takes things that he's like, well, I remember liking this as a fan or enjoying being part of this as a performer. Let's bring it back. King of the Ring, let's do the tournament. Like, I can't wait till that tournament becomes a one night tournament again. Because that
Yeah.
was like, to me, that's the epic King of the Ring. All matches one night. But Saturday Night's Main Event is a great example. Like, he's so good at bringing back things. Hell in a Cell's coming back. War Games he brought back. Like, it's awesome when he brings nostalgic stuff back, and then you get now this new version of it because the business has progressed so much, and you get so much better, camera work and pyro and tech. It's just being a part of it, being on the inside during it, like fantastic. Like I hope I can just continue and can continue to contribute to different events like that.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned all the elements that have been implemented because I've grown up watching wrestling my entire life. I was there when it was the red, white, and blue ring ropes and then the Attitude Era and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I've seen everything change, and it's really cool to see the little elements changing, like the production, the camera shots. One thing that I've noticed a lot here recently with Triple H taking over is you're seeing more focus on the tag division. You're seeing more feature of you guys doing more stuff and not just doing here's a 5-minute match or 10-minute match, go out there and do whatever, because Triple H has been in that tag team, so he knows what it's like. And how does that feel, seeing that the tag team division is getting elevated even more every week?
So being on the inside of that, I always want more, and I always want it to go faster. But I think that is the normal nature of any competitive. It's not even sport. Any competitive business, like, you always want more than you're getting, and you always want it to happen faster than it's happening. Like, it's exciting to see tag teams getting that light shown on them. For example, of the last maybe 2 or 3 pay-per-views, we've had pretty decent profile matches on the SmackDown the night before. So, which is awesome because it's pretty similar crowd, pretty similar energy level, etc. Now what we want is, well, we got to get on the PLEs. Like, you watch France crowd from home, you watch anything from, you watch SummerSlam from home, and you just like, well, that's the best crowd you're gonna get. Like, they're just such a, even when we just did a tour of Germany, and every night was a great crowd. Berlin crowd was by far the best one. Like, you want to be a part of that. That's commercial free. That most eyes are on you, biggest stage possible. So it's very cool that the tag division is starting to get some prominence, but boy, do we want more. And I think that's just the nature of the beast.
Right, for sure. And of course, we talk about the internet and people reading reports. And of course, there's always that rumor of certain tag teams coming over. One predominantly here a lot recently is Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
A tag team like that coming into WWE that's never stepped foot in that kind of a brand. What would that mean for the tag team division? Of course, as a fan here, I'm already thinking DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns at WrestleMania. Go ahead and give it to me now if that ever happens. But what would that mean for a tag team like them to come into WWE?
Yeah, and I think that's the natural go-to, at least from what I see and hear. Like, for whatever reason, whether it's our styles or just our size, whatever, everyone seems to always pair us and those guys together. And we took some. I mean, shoot, they've influenced tag team wrestling for 2 decades now. Like, we've taken stuff from them and concepts from them and ideas from them. I've actually never wrestled either one of them in singles or tag my entire career. So it would be really cool to have that happen on the WWE stage for the first time. I know Johnny's got a pretty good relationship with Shelley. He's known him forever. I love those guys. He loves those guys. We see the same rumors that y'all see. And shoot, man, if we could get that tag division to a point where we got 4, 5, 6 different top acts going at once, like, that's when you're in it. And so the more competition, the merrier. Like, I welcome that. That elevates your game. It forces you to elevate. I think the crowd will take to them extremely fast and really well. So I hope it happens. I probably want it to happen even more than some of the fans want it to happen.
Well, we're going to put that out in the universe, and we hope to see it at WrestleMania in Vegas. Maybe give us a ladder match for the tag team titles between Motor
I
City
already
Machine
have
Guns
5
and
teams in
DIY.
mind for that ladder match. I'll tell you that. Like that's what you do, right? You get a lot of 2, 3, 4 hour car rides, and you just fantasy book stuff in your head, and they're at the top of our list.
That would be an incredible match. And I would say if you have anybody who has to follow that match, if it happens, good luck following that one for sure. I know we don't have much time left. I got to wrap this up here shortly. We're talking about WWE SmackDown returning to Nashville, Bridgestone Arena, October 4th. You can still grab tickets, Ticketmaster.com. But at the end of the show, we always like to have fun with our guests, and we turn to our computer analyst, our Chat GPT, to let them ask our guest a question. It's usually off the wall. It's usually random, and today is off the wall and random. Speaking of tag teams, if you had to choose a tag team partner for an apocalypse, but your only options are a broken crutch, your beard trimmer, or Johnny Gargano in a bunny suit, who are you picking to help you out in that apocalypse?
I'm going solo with my broken crutch, man. I'm going, yeah. If you said Johnny Gargano with some sort of Avenger suit, I would consider it. But a bunny suit, I'm out, man. I'll take my crutch.
You'll take the crutch. I like it. I like it. Well, Tommaso, I really do appreciate you spending some time here with us today. Looking forward to seeing you in Nashville on October 4th. And before we let you go, is there anything you want to say or promote before we let you go to the
No, I mean,
listeners?
WWE is the machine, right? They do all the promoting. They do it better than anybody else. We're excited for Nashville. One of the last times I was there was SummerSlam weekend. It was insane. We spent the whole week out there. Like, I love the area. I love the crowd out there. Uh, Funny that you even say tickets are still available because we constantly are selling everything out. So if they're available, they won't be available long. So grab them. But yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. I have no idea what I'll be doing that night, but whatever we give you is going to be 100%. And I hope it's something spectacular. Maybe we even get Motor City Machine Guns to make their debut there. Who knows?
I'm just going to
It's
leave it
probably
like
not
that.
happening, but it might. It might.